She's not what you'd expect. She's tough and feisty, but gentle and tender. She makes millions and gives millions to the poor. She cries, she laughs, she teaches, she comforts. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. This is that one day a week where we put a focus on the spiritual life. This is called the Spiritual Equipping Broadcast. And I hope that today is going to find you like completely blessed. As when I found inside of the best success book ever written today, I found myself really blessed by what it said. And so get ready to be encouraged, maybe even inspired, maybe even to get the answer that you've been looking for with a personal relationship or one that is at work. So let's go ahead and start with a quick word of prayer. Father, thank you so much for this day. Thank you for your guidance. Thank you for your wisdom that just pours out of this amazing life-giving book. Thank you for how you halt certain words to speak directly to our spirits exactly when we need it. I pray a blessing on my friend who is listening right here, right now, that your word would just be ignited inside of them, and that answers will flow, and that we will have complete clarity and direction exactly where it is that we need it. So bless the time that we have together. In the name of Yeshua, that is Jesus the Messiah, amen. All right, so we're continuing on in Proverbs chapter 10. Last week, we basically handled 10:1 through 10, but now we're going to pick up at verse 11 and continue on. This is like some serious sound advice. I want you to imagine, like, here's the richest king who ever walked the earth. They've calculated Solomon's riches to today's money, and there still isn't anyone who's ever been as successful as this man. And so this man is writing like a personal letter to his son, who perhaps might be the son that ends up taking up his throne once he is gone. And so to me, it's like, gosh, I remember, because of growing up on welfare and a bunch of violence and all the drugs that were in the house that I grew up on, just wondering, wishing, once I broke out of that household, then just seeing, got introduced to some other people who lived a completely different way, and just wishing that, somebody else was my parents. I don't know if you ever wished that, but, I would see other people, and, the grass is always green on the other side, right? But to be able to have access to the most popular person on the earth, who at the time was King Solomon, people would come from all over the world to hear him talk. And then, then to have all the riches that he had, the wisdom that he had. But could you, I would think, gosh, wow, I wonder what that'd been like to be able to have him as your father. Like, wow, that'd be kind of an interesting trip about. But you wouldn't have to really wonder too much, because the book of Proverbs is like letter after letter to an instruction for his sons. And so let's go ahead and start with verse 11. It says, "The mouth of the righteous is a fountain of life." Let's just pause right there. The mouth of the righteous is a fountain of life. Do you consider yourself righteous, but your mouth is a fountain of death? The mouth of the righteous is a fountain of life. Are you negative Nelly? Are you that person who cuts people down with your tongue? Do you go to church and then slice your kids into tiny little pieces? Do you consider yourself righteous and dishonor your husband with your tongue? This same book, the book of Proverbs, talks about that a woman is able to tear down her entire future just with her tongue. What I'm talking about today is being that person who thinks somehow they're righteous, and there's that person that walks around saying, "I'm a daughter of the king. I'm a son of the living God." Thinking they're all that, full of righteousness. Can't wait to get to the pearly gates to hear the words, "Well done, good and faithful servant." But yet here we see what is a sign of righteousness. What is the fruit? What's the byproduct of righteousness? Now, I understand that there is a theology out there that says that if you are in Messiah, which, by the way, the word Messiah means the anointed. So if you are in the anointed, Yeshua, who came 2,000 years ago, laid down his life for you and me. But if you believe that going to church all of a sudden makes you righteous, and if you believe that you said this prayer and now you're righteous, well, then if you're righteous, then the fruit of righteousness should be exuding out of you. It should be falling out all around you. There should be proof all over your life that you are. And right here, one of the proof of being righteous is that your mouth is a fountain of life. When was the last time that you, with your mouth, had life-giving words to your spouse? Because it says it's a fountain of life. You see, a fountain is ever moving, right? A fountain, like just think of a water fountain, out in a public square. It's got constant movement. It's fresh. It's alive. Actually, it's living. It's alive. A fountain is alive. So it says that your mouth is a fountain of life if you're righteous. That should be the fruit of your mouth is what? A fountain of life, life-giving words. So ignoring your spouse or only giving words of encouragement when they've been perfect, this is not righteousness. This is actually called wickedness, neglect. If the only time that life-giving words come out of your mouth towards your kids is if when they don't screw up, which sadly a child screws up every day, sometimes all day, if we consider ourselves righteous, we need to be careful what we think righteousness is. Because being righteous is not necessarily going to church. There's plenty of people who go to church who come home and abuse verbally, mentally, spiritually even, their families. Not to mention cheat on their taxes, not to mention cheat at work. What do I mean cheat at work? They don't do their job, and then they get to play the victim. They don't feel like going to work, so they don't go to work. And then sadly, what we saw in Proverbs 10, 1 through 10 last week was those are called lazy hands, and lazy hands definitely produce poverty. So friend, I want you to evaluate yourself right now. And if we were to line up 10 people from 10 different parts of your life, from work, from church, from home, from school, from your daily life, from the grocery store, what would they say about you? Is your mouth a fountain of life? This is Dani Johnson. Check this out. Are you confident that you're always getting a good deal? Have you been equipped with the negotiation confidence, strategies, tactics, and supporting tools you need to close world-class deals? Finally, JPA is making the exact same specialized negotiation training and secrets used by the world's largest, most successful corporations available to everyone. Proven in more than 60 countries and used by brands like Adidas, Vodafone, Pfizer, Nokia, and others, the JPA negotiation method will set you up to save money and time while significantly increasing your profits. It doesn't matter if you're buying or selling real estate, closing contracts with suppliers, or selling products and services to individuals or organizations. Using their simple step-by-step negotiation preparation checklist, you'll be ready to confidently slug it out toe-to-toe with the toughest professional negotiators. It's time for you to stop leaving money and opportunity on the table. Go to bizneg.com/events to register now. Again, that's bizneg.com/events. Get registered today.
Did you know you can take the Dani Johnson Show with you wherever you go? It's never been easier to stay up to date with the latest content from Dani with the DaniJohnson.com app. Watch or listen in the car, at the gym, or on the go. Download it now from the App Store and Google Play and never miss a show again. Your family, business, and bank account will thank you. And now, back to the Dani Johnson Show.
So did you evaluate yourself? Is your mouth a fountain of life? Here's the next part of Proverbs 10, verse 11. Says, but violence covers the mouth of the wrong. Think about that. But violence covers the mouth of the wrong. I used to be a full-on violent person with my mouth. And sadly, I used to be violent with my hands as well, many, many, many years ago. My tongue used to lash out against my husband especially. Oh boy, could I encourage the heck out of my clients and my staff. Woo! Yes, boy, do I remember. In Hans, in my early days, 25 years ago, yep, I had an endless amount of encouragement for my clients. No, it'd be more like manipulation. And I had an endless amount of grace and encouragement on my staff. I had an endless amount for my coworkers. And I even had wonderful grace-filled things leaving my mouth to the checkout person at the grocery store, the person bagging my groceries. The real question is why? Why did I have so much life coming out of my tongue for everybody but Hans? Why? Because all of that was fake and it was manipulation. There was something I could get out of those people. Sadly, that's where I was 25 years ago. But my mouth was violent, yeah. But violence covers the mouth of the wrong. I had nothing nice to say to him. I was calling him a loser, that he wouldn't amount to anything, that he couldn't do anything right. I made it really, really personal. I hit him below the belt. I was totally violent with my tongue, shredding him to pieces, stealing away from him his manhood, discouraging him, telling him to get out of my house because it was my house. I bought this house before we were together. I was evil in every way. And guess what? I got to eat the fruit of what I spewed, the evil, the violence that spewed off of my tongue straight into his heart. And I paid a hefty price because of how I treated him. So I'm asking you to look into your own heart and really evaluate that if 10 people were lined up, what would they say? What would they say? Would they say that you were, a fountain of life? Or were you the mouth that had violence coming out of it? If you, back then, 25 years ago, to line up the 10 people, well, I would want to choose the 10 you'd line up. Because I certainly would not have wanted to be founded out. Let's keep going, verse 12. Hatred stirs up strife, but love covers all transgressions. That's powerful. Think about that. Hatred stirs up strife. When you are a person who hates yourself and a person that hates others, you're continuously creating strife between other people. A gossip is someone who continuously stirs up strife among brothers, among sisters, among family members. Someone who hates themselves, here's a sure sign. They are one who feeds strife with others. I remember somebody coming along one time it didn't appear the person was jealous of the family relationship. But have you ever been in a scenario like this where you've got a really nice, tight family and then a newcomer comes in to the situation, and that newcomer, their entire plan, without realizing it and not trying to do it on purpose, but all of a sudden starts to cause strife between the brothers and the sisters, and then between the parents, and then the parents to the children. And now all of a sudden, just with one newcomer coming in, all of this strife and chaos has been created. It usually starts inside of somebody who is carrying self-hate. That one that is what I call sowing dissension between people, members of a family. Or let's just even take this to work. I've even noticed, as I've worked with various different clients from all over the world, that there's been, whenever a newcomer comes, it could be a new management person, it could be a new person who's starting at an entry-level position, that what you want to notice is what is the fruit that has come along with this new person getting started? Is it strife? Or are things better? Are things easier since they've come along? Or are things worse? I've had to evaluate things from time to time. I've been in business for 30 years. And when I look back, I can sit there and go, whoa! Even though, because here's why. Especially, friend, if you are in a high-level position, people are going to be different to you than they are to the others that they're working with more. So if you've noticed that there's a whole lot of squabbling going on, and there's a lot of division that is happening with a newcomer that has come in, friend, you might need to make a decision. No matter how talented that person is, the bottom line is if they are causing strife within the existing organization, something needs to come into question. They may not even realize what it is that they're doing. But if strife is the fruit of their presence being there, then self-hate, hatred of themselves and hatred of the others they are working with is what is operating inside of that person. So what do? A conversation has to happen. Warnings need to happen. Letting them know that they're being watched and that we're going to have to all come to the table and make a decision as to whether or not this is a really good fit for them. Whether or not this is healthy for them and healthy for the rest of the organization. Strife is from the evil one. Strife comes from hatred, as we see right here in Proverbs. We must not allow strife to happen inside of a family, and strife cannot happen inside of your business, your ministry, your charity, whatever it is that you do. Strife cannot be tolerated, cannot be accepted. It has to be something that is not allowed, and you've got to draw a line. I remember times in my marriage where I said to Hans, I refuse to strive with you. Strife is evil, and I do not want to go there. I want to choose love that covers a multitude of transgressions. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue. Check this out first. Have you ever wondered if your investments are making enough money for retirement? What if you could buy an investment rental property for as little as $35,000 that rents for at least $550 a month? After Aaron and Drew Hudson asked themselves this question, Hudson Real Estate Investments was formed, and now 200 transactions have been conducted. Their system helps individuals buy and hold real estate. Their definition of a great buy and hold is a property that pays you a monthly positive cash flow from day one. Hudson Real Estate Investments has a team who find properties available for immediate purchase, vet tenants, and have qualified property management in place. So if you're looking to have freedom and live your life on your own terms, grab your phone and text the word future to 484848. Get started today. Text the word future to 484848. Secure your future now.
Prior to Dani Johnson, I was struggling in my business. I was drowning in debt. Me and Crystal weren't doing so well either. In the last 21 months since our first event, I paid off $36,000. We actually got engaged, which was the best part, and my business made $90,000 last year. And I've given over $5,000 to orphans this year as well. So I can tell you that this has changed my life, but I want to recommend that you come to this event and learn as much as you can from Dani Johnson.
I attended a First Steps to Success event, and after the skills I learned there, I started a home business. I've made over 5 figures in 1 month. Actually, I've generated over $90,000, which is way more than I ever did working full-time at my other job. So we have increased our income, paid off debt. More than that, though, we no longer have that pressure. It's just been such a blessing to my family. So, everything might be awesome in your life, but if you want to increase your income, pay off debt, improve relationships, live the life you've always wanted to live, I suggest you get to DaniJohnson.com and register for the next event.
After plugging into Dani Johnson, we made a covenant that we would either move forward together or we would go our separate ways. And in a matter of days, we sold his car, we bought our engagement ring. 5 months later, we were married. We paid for our wedding in cash because of the business skills that we had also learned from Dani. And we've since then more than quadrupled our income. And we've been together now, married for over a year.
And after plugging into Dani Johnson, we have paid off $196,000 in 13 months. My company has grown 90%, and I have relationships that I could never have even imagined with the ones I care most about around me.
Prior to attending my First Steps to Success, we were drowning in debt. We had lost a business. My second marriage was going down the toilets. I had no time and relationship with my son. and I was just a mess, and I was burning out fast. After attending First Steps and been to a few events, we have a thriving business that's gone international. We have paid off 65% of our debt. We are not just making money, but we're saving money, and we're learning how to grow money. I have got a marriage that's gone from barely surviving to thriving, and I now have 2 children with whom I have so much time. I am not burnt out, stressed out, and all I can say is, you've just got to get here.
What multimillionaire do you know that volunteers their time to help ordinary people like you and me? There's only one. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Okay, so let's say you found yourself in that situation and there has been a newcomer that has come in and strife is all that you're experiencing. It could be even that it is your daughter's new boyfriend. It could be, you know, like I said, an entry-level person that started in your company, or a new manager that started in your company, or whatever. Like it just a new set of circumstances that has come in. Now, again, I used to be the one that caused all the strife inside of my marriage. So evil of me to have done that 25 years ago. Thank God I've been delivered of that. So let's just say you're in that set of circumstances right now. There's just a whirlwind of strife that is happening either at home or at work or some other place, right? Okay, so here's the answer. It's really, really simple. Wisdom, this is verse 13 of Proverbs chapter 10, wisdom is found on the lips of him who has understanding. I gotta say that again. I don't want to say this so fast that you don't hear it. This is so powerful. Wisdom is found on the lips of him who has understanding. But a rod is for the back of him who lacks heart. Okay, let's go back. Wisdom is found on the lips of him who has understanding. Several times King Solomon writes to his son, give ear to understanding, incline your ear, press into understanding. Again and again and again, he says this throughout all 31 chapters of the writings that he wrote, as well as he did in Ecclesiastes. So understanding. I recently had a conversation with a client. This was so powerful. I get questions all the time of, Dani, what do I say when my wife says X? Or Dani, what do I do when my husband does Y? And here's my answer. Why do you want to know a script of what to say to your wife or to your husband? What you're lacking is something more than a script. And they say, well, what is it that I'm lacking? Understanding. You are lacking understanding. You see, wisdom is on the lips of those who have understanding. What is understanding? Let me just break it down and make it plain. Okay, you know how on Pinterest you can look up pictures of food, you can see recipes. Okay, you're craving something, you're like, hey, you know, I want a beef meal, right? So you look up on Pinterest and it shows you food, right? Shows you all of these different beautiful pictures of all this great food, right? And there it is, all right? Now, do you understand what it tastes like? No, you don't understand what it tastes like. All you do is see that it looks good, but you do not yet have the understanding as to whether or not it is good. What is understanding? It's actually experiencing something from a different perspective. That looks good, that sounds good, has no understanding. The only way you truly have understanding is if you put it inside of you and you allow yourself to experience it. So in the case with one of my clients who's asking the question, what do I say to my wife when she says X? I said, a script is not what it is that you want, truly. What you really want is understanding. He says, help me understand. I said, well, if you understood where your wife was coming from, then you would know exactly what to say. And it wouldn't be a prefabricated statement that works maybe 5 out of 10 times. But what your wife really desires is to be understood, to be heard. And the same that I said for the wife, that you're not looking for a, what do you do? What's the action I take whenever he does this? No. How about if you incline your ear to want to understand what is behind the this? Because if you can understand why he does this, then you would know exactly how to respond to this. So oftentimes, we're looking for a quick remedy. But see, that's not wisdom. The quick remedy that's going to work for 10 out of 10 times is not wisdom. What you want is understanding. So in the case with, for example, the one who's causing strife in your family or strife at work. You see, the quick answer is get rid of them, right? Just like if you are walking and you get a thorn in your flip-flop, if you're wearing little flip-flops, skinny little sandals, you're stepping along the beach, you're in Hawaii, you step on a kiawe branch, which is thorns. Man, this sucker is like needles, really thick too. They're nasty. So they're not only long, but they're also thick. I've stepped on it. If you've been to Hawaii, the Big Island Hawaii, you've stepped on kiawe. You step on that thing, it hurts. And the only thing you can think of is, how do I get rid of this? That's the same exact thing that when strife hits the home or hits the office, the same thing, like, how do I get rid of this? But again, there's no understanding. Why is this person causing strife? How do you learn? You incline your ear to hear where the person is coming from. What are they personally wrestling with? What is it that is going on in their life that is causing this kind of activity? So what do? You ask questions. You spend a little bit of time. You lay down your judgments and your assumptions, and most importantly, you lay down your frustration. When you lay down that frustration, now you can open up your heart to actually receive the truth as it perceives to the person who is talking. And when you do that, friend, when you do that, now you can solve the problem. And you can bring restoration to the relationship at work and at home versus another divided, painful breakup again. So, here's what I challenge you to do. Gain understanding. Understanding, the Bible says, is better than silver. It's better than fine jewels. Because it's the one who has understanding that doesn't react to frustration, doesn't react to striving, but instead can see a much bigger picture. Why? Because they jump on the side of the other person to hear, to understand, just like looking at a picture of the food saying that sounds good or that looks good, but instead let's make it and get it in our body. Hey, I hope you enjoyed today's spiritual equipping message. Please let us know. And most importantly, share it with somebody else. God bless. Have a great rest of the day. Do you have a closet full of clothes yet say, I have nothing to wear? Are you a mom doing her best but desperately lacking me time? Or maybe your schedule has you dressing practically instead of powerfully. What if I told you there's a system, a blueprint that can save you time, money, and turn every head in the room, as well as impact the world through fashion? Friend, you're in the fashion business whether you like it or not. You're an ambassador representing your faith, your marriage, family, and business. Style is just a skill made easy with 1-2-3 Style Me. 10 steps to style success that will expand your leadership, save you hundreds of hours and thousands of dollars. This program will bring you peace of mind, reignite your marriage, make you more productive, respected, and instantly boost your confidence, equipping you to be bold and beautiful. Go to courses.lindapage.com. Again, that is courses.linda, LINDAPAIGE.com, and make a priceless investment in yourself.
Did you know you can see Dani Johnson live and in person? Go to DaniJohnson.com and find out about our next live event. First Steps to Success. Register today. Call 866-760-8255 or go to DaniJohnson.com/FSTS. If this episode was an encouragement to you, go to DaniJohnson.com and share it with your friends now. You never know who else needs to hear it. This has been The Dani Johnson Show. Join us every weekday at 7 a.m. for more insights that will help you get to the life you've always wanted.